Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unity Fellowship. My name is Chrissy Bray Cotton, and I serve as ministry intern here at Unity. We are so happy that you're joining us today, whether it's here in person, virtually, or even later on in the week. Welcome. You know, every now and then somebody will ask, what is it that makes Unity so special, Chrissy? The heart of it is simple. This is not your grandma's church. Unless your grandma truly believed that every single person is fully loved, fully welcome, and fully accepted just exactly as they are. Here, every molecule of your being is welcomed and affirmed. Your questions are welcome. Your doubts are welcome. This is a safe space. We actually hope to create like a dialogue with you, a conversation, or an interactive experience, if you will. Even if you're struggling with faith, you belong here. You are deeply loved here. And now it's my absolute joy to introduce our associate pastor, Reverend Gator Lone Wolf.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chrissy. I just echo those words of welcome and affirmation. I'm looking right now at those who are there in person. Welcome to all of y'all. If you're joining us virtually or later in the week, I'm getting some feedback. If you're joining us later in the week, we're glad you're with us and you're in a safe space. I also want to wish all the fathers and father figures a very happy Father's Day today, and prayers for those of you who are missing your dad today. And I also want to wish you a happy summer solstice. For our tribal communities, this is a very important day where we remember and give thanks for the earth and the sun and the bounty. Now let me turn it over to our senior pastor, Bob Coons.
Thank you, Gator and Chrissy, for those words of welcome, and I echo all of those words. This is a safe space. You are with family. Even if this is the very first time you've ever attended or joined us online, you are in a safe place and you are counted as family. Welcome. So glad that you're here. We are delighted that you have joined us. We invite you to participate with us as you have opportunity. Please join in the conversation. Again, so glad that you're here. Let's worship together.
Now for our first video of the day, one of my absolute favorites, Simon and Garfunkel, Scarborough Fair.
Here's a song that comes from the northeast shore of England. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Remember me to one who lives there. She once was a true love of mine. Tell her to make me a cambric shirt, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, without no seam nor needlework. Then she'll be a true love of mine. Tell her to find me an acre of land, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, between the salt water and the sea strand. Then she'll be a true love of mine. Tell her to reap it in a sickle of leather, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, to gather it all in a bunch of heather. Then she'll be a true love of mine. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Remember me to one who lives there. She once was a true love of mine.
Okay, now it's time for news, joys, and concerns. If you're on the app, feel free to type in. I'll read it for you. If you're on Zoom, you can unmute. If you're here in person, wave, and Bruce back there is going to bring your microphone. News, joys, and concerns.
Christy Teresa, online, wants to wish comfort and companionship to those who miss their fathers today, and patient compassion to people who have less than friendly relationships with their fathers.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Teresa. Absolutely. Becky Bells reached out this morning, and she asked for ongoing prayers for George. He still doesn't feel very well, but their daughter Julie is in town visiting, so to celebrate Father's Day, so she couldn't be here.
Appreciate the update.
Yeah.
Anybody else? News, joys, and concerns?
Yeah, I want to lift
Albert.
up all the
Go ahead.
families of Chin, the Chin congregations in Owensboro and in Kentucky. One of their family members was killed in the car wreck that was here on the bypass a few days ago. She was actually in town visiting, but just be in prayers for her family and the whole Chin community, because it was a big loss for them.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask for prayers for a friend of mine from back home. His own dad is really going through it. He went to the house yesterday to visit, and his dad had lost an incredible amount of weight. His voice is so weak, and really shook my friend. So his dad lives about an hour and a half from him, and he said that was the longest ride back home he can remember.
I bet.
Thank you, Cater. Last
I
call.
would ask that you keep my cousin Mickey in your prayers. They're in South Carolina, he and his wife. She is struggling to take care of him. He's still in rehab right now from the stroke and dealing with dementia. I did have a chance to speak with him this week. Sounded very weak, and it was a struggle for him to get words out. Just keep Mickey in your prayers. Thank you.
Definitely, Bob.
I understand what he's going through. The dementia thing is really a serious deal. If you haven't had anything to do with it, Gail has it, and it's a strange thing, and it really takes a lot of attention off you, and a lot of attention to take care of it as well. And I sympathize with him and anybody who has that kind of disease. They need help. Yeah.
Thank you, Roy. Jenna Morrison writes, huge praise to God for her new job. She's so excited for that. And please pray for her father. Even though our relationship is strained, he will be going to a cancer doctor this week. We absolutely will, Jenna.
Praying for, praying for both of you, especially for him.
Yes.
For myself, I have to go for my cardiac function scan in the morning. I'm real nervous, so if y'all can just keep me in your prayers, I'd appreciate it.
We got you,
Sure,
Chrissy.
Chrissy.
My stepdad's in the hospital. He had emergency hernia surgery, so if you can keep him in your prayers.
Will do.
And I guess say prayers for Chin that the repairman can get the AC in the sanctuary fixed cheaply this week, and that it's not a big fortune since all the units are down.
Wow.
I thought Daniel would say something about Alan, but he hasn't, so I will. I come in Wednesday, and Alan was walking in the hall out here in the fellowship hall. I said, what in the world are you doing? He's walking around just like normal. So he has come through that surgery like anybody I have never seen before with knee surgery. So, and he's over in the kitchen today. So he has done wonderful with that knee surgery.
Let's report that he's still hurting, though, so we should keep him in our prayers.
Yeah, he's still hurting, but he's being very stubborn about it. So he's fixed.
Nothing new there, right?
Correct. But he did do soup kitchen both days this week, and like Roy said, he is over in the kitchen right now, cleaning up from Friday's soup kitchen still. But therapists are shocked that he's got such good range of motion in his knee compared to most people, because he's only, well, Tuesday will be 2 weeks out, and he already has a motion of 110 degrees, and they're pushing for 120. So he's, I say 110, 105 is what his motion is now, and their therapists are really impressed with that. So
That's great.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you, Daniel. And it looks like that's all. Pastor G, would you like to lead us in prayer this morning?
Of course. Please pray with me. God, we give you thanks for another beautiful Sunday, for the summer solstice, to be reminded of how deeply we are connected to this earth, the seasons, the sun, and each other. We also praise you for the good things that are happening in the lives of those gathered and those they love, for healing, for a surgery scheduled to fix pain and struggle. We ask that you be with those today who are remembering their fathers, missing them. We ask you to be with those who don't have good relationships with their fathers. Give them comfort. Open our hearts and minds to the message this morning so that we begin to realize even more how inclusive your love is for all people, especially those on the margins. In the name of the one who came to make all things new. Amen.
Amen.
Now, if you join me for our affirmation of togetherness. We gather in oneness together. We praise and worship God together. We proclaim God together. We welcome and affirm all persons in God's love together. And we seek to live for God in every breath and heartbeat together. If you haven't already done so, you can join our contact list by texting the word ADD, to 270-201-5022. It will send back a form. You don't have to fill it all out if you don't want to, but at least send us back your name so we know who we're messaging every Sunday. If you don't already have it, you can get our absolutely free app by searching for Unity Fellowship-Owensboro on the Google Play or the App Store and looking for our logo. And if you'd like to help support this ministry, you can do so in a myriad of ways. You can, of course, give on the app. You can click the donate button on our Facebook page. You can go old school and mail it to P.O. Box 1401, Owensboro, Kentucky 42302. There's also a collection plate at each door of the sanctuary, but it goes far beyond money at all. There are lots of ways you can support this ministry. You follow us on Facebook or TikTok. Engage with us in the things that we post. Share them. Invite your friends. Help us just get the word out about Unity. Because we've always said it. Unity is the best kept secret in Owensboro. And now for our second video of the day, Jack Marty, Amazing Grace is in the house of the rising sun.
There is a house in New Orleans they call the rising sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy, and God, I know I'm one. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. My mother was a tailor. She sewed my new blue jeans. My father was a gambling man down in New Orleans. 'Tis grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieve. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Now the only thing a gambler needs is a suitcase and a trunk, and the only time that he's satisfied is when he's on the drunk. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. Now, mother, tell your children not to do what I have done, to spend your life in sin and misery in the house of the rising sun. when we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first
Hey, Chrissy, I had this in my notes and I looked right past it. I do have one announcement to make. Next Sunday, Monica Willett will be here with us. She is the Associate Conference Minister for the United Church of Christ Indiana Kentucky Conference, of which we are a part. For those of you who don't know, we don't make a big deal about it, but we are aligned with three different denominational groups. We are with the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship, the Alliance of Baptists, and the United Church of Christ. And occasionally, someone from one of those three organizations will join us. Next Sunday, Monica will be with us. She and the conference minister are visiting all of the churches in the Indiana Kentucky Conference over this next year. And they want to spend a little time with us to get to know us. And they have some questions for us. So not only will she be here, she'll be preaching, and then she will be leading us in a series of questions, I think 6 of them. So there'll be a family meeting following our worship service. Alan has agreed to have a meal ready for us. So plan on being with us next Sunday and staying for the family meeting, the meal to share with each other, and let's support the work that they're doing with the Indiana Kentucky Conference. Okay, sorry about leaving that out earlier. Our breakout question for today is, when do you find it desirable to remain anonymous? And when would you rather not be anonymous? How does each of those situations, how are each of those situations different, and how do they make you feel? When is it desirable to be anonymous, and when would you rather not be anonymous? If you are on the app or Zoom, you can put something in the chat. If you're on Zoom, you can also unmute and speak. And those of you who are in the sanctuary, if you would just wave a hand, we'll get a microphone to you so that everybody can hear you in all of the places.
I think that I was anonymous for most of my life. And I don't really know how to be anonymous again sometimes. But that's okay. I feel like I'm a part of things now. Or maybe my voice matters.
Okay, all right. Is there a time you would like to be anonymous?
Yes, when I grocery shop. I'm at Kroger at 6 a.m. with no makeup, and everybody wants to come up and talk to me. Aren't you, Chrissy Ray Cotton?
All right.
No, I think one of the times that I would like to remain anonymous is when I'm actually trying to help someone that needs something or is in need of something, and I don't really want them to know where the help came from so that they don't feel obligated.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Daniel. Others, when do you find it desirable, and when would you rather not be anonymous?
I think I like to be anonymous when I'm making room for other people's voices that don't have privilege.
Right.
And so I don't want to say I'm giving my privilege over. I just make room for them
Right.
and highlight that. And I'd rather not it be widely known. And then times when I don't want to be anonymous is when I'm protesting or I'm standing up alongside people who need my presence, my commitment. I think it's very important to be fully present and fully acknowledged alongside them.
Be seen
You got it. So those are mine.
because you're a representative at that point for
That's
others.
right. That's right.
When would you rather just fade into the background and not be acknowledged? And when would you rather come to the forefront?
I kind of turned that into a joke just a minute ago, but honestly, sometimes I just want to be a married woman. You know what I mean? Sometimes I just want to blend in.
Sure. Sometimes the spotlight is a good thing. Sometimes it's a little hot.
It definitely can be. It definitely can be.
Me personally, controversial subjects where you have a strong opinion, but that's not maybe the majority opinion. And sometimes I just decide it's better to keep your mouth shut and keep your opinion to yourself, because I found out you change your opinion a lot in your life. As you grow older, your opinion changes. So sometimes just better just keep your mouth shut and follow your mind telling you what to do.
Okay? Hold your tongue. What about how it makes you feel? And either one. How does it make you feel when you can't remain anonymous and would rather, or when the opposite is true?
Almost invaded?
Okay.
I think there's a lot of stress sometimes that comes with wishing to be anonymous and not. You have to navigate a whole lot more things in those situations. And then there's other times where you say, okay, I want to be anonymous, but then you see something happen and you think, man, I should have spoken up louder,
Yeah.
you know? So.
I like the word navigate. It's very, very much a navigation situation. Trying to figure out those times when you need to speak, those times when you need to just remain in the background.
Exactly. Teresa writes, I've been thinking about anonymity when being an ally to other groups, like at Juneteenth this weekend. It's tempting to be quiet to prevent yourself from looking ignorant about important concerns. And for a long time, it's more important to listen to Black people and support them. I don't want to try too hard to get credit and make it about me being a good person. But at
Absolutely.
right? Yeah. But at some point, I have to let people know I listened and I am showing up, since writing politicians is important but invisible at times. Great input, Teresa. Thank you.
Wonderful comments. Thank you. Anyone else? Last call. Okay, well, thank you for that. Throughout history, some people's stories get told and others get overshadowed by them. Some of them get brushed aside or even buried altogether, hidden from view, unless someone comes along to unearth them. The same is true with the biblical stories. The Bible's no exception. There are stories of remarkable people hidden from us between the covers of that Bible that we carry. Sometimes they're just simply overlooked, like today's story. Just minor characters in a larger story. Other times, they are intentionally obscured in order to highlight and herald the patriarchal heroes in the scriptures. We'll be looking at some of those later. Our focal passage for this series, God in the Margins, comes from the book of Corinthians. Take a good look at yourselves, at who you were when God called you into this life. I don't see many of the brightest and best among you. Not many influential, not many high society families. Isn't it obvious that God deliberately chose men and women that the culture overlooks and exploits and abuses? Chose those nobodies in order to expose the hollow pretensions of the somebodies. In this series, we're scouring the margins of the Bible to find those nobodies, the overlooked, the unknown, the unseen, the anonymous ones, unsung heroes of the Bible. You may have thought today's choice of music was a little odd. We know the music that we heard in today's videos because somebody discovered them, dusted them off, and recorded them for us. But Paul Simon did not write Scarborough Fair. The melody was a 17th century Scottish tune, and the lyrics by an unknown American songwriter. The House of the Rising Sun wasn't written by Eric Burdon or the Animals either. They made it famous, just like Simon and Garfunkel did with Scarborough Fair, but nobody knows who wrote it. Possibly from Appalachia or from English shores or somebody in New Orleans. Thing is, nobody really knows where those roots are. I don't know if you did, but I did like the way that Jack Marty blended House of the Rising Sun with Amazing Grace. I enjoyed that this morning. And there's lots of songs, as well as poetry and nursery rhymes that are just like that. We know the music or the poetry, but we don't know the person who first thought of it. Like B-I-N-G-O, Hickory Dickory Dock, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, Little Bo Peep, sing it with me. The wheels of the bus go round and round, round and round. We know it, but we don't know who wrote it. The Old Woman in the Shoe, Jack and Jill, Humpty Dumpty. I bet if I were to start singing 99 Bottles of Beer, you could all join me on that as well. Every one of them originated by Miss Anonymous or Mr. Unknown. Today we meet Seth, the original unknown. Imagine being born as the third child to very famous parents. Everyone knows the names of your parents. What's worse, though, is that your two older brothers are also famous. Everyone knows their names too. But you're just the other child. No one has ever heard of you. if not for a brief mention in a genealogy list of other famous people, you could have been a complete unknown, here and gone with nobody knowing you at all. That's Seth. Seth is first mentioned in the 4th chapter of Genesis, and Pastor G has our reading.
Adam and his wife had another son. They named him Seth because they said, God has given us a son to take the place of Abel, who was killed by his brother Cain. Later, Seth had a son and named him Enosh. About this time, people started worshiping the Lord.
Perhaps this is a good time for me to say that I do not read these stories from Genesis as historical fact. They live in the category of lore and legend and myth. Not to say that they don't carry truth. They absolutely do. They occupy the thoughts, they convey rather, the thoughts and imaginings of our spiritual forebears. They are a record of what they thought and how they understood and interacted with God. They contain theological truths as they understood them. And I think we need to honor them for what they are. Hear the myths, but see beyond the myth to the truths that to which they bear witness. Just not literalize them. They were never intended as historical fact. We actually minimize their power when we turn them into history. Mere history, in fact. The ancients knew they were stories that they were telling. They knew that they were legends. Powerful, truth-bearing stories. The names of the characters ought to tell us something about that. Adam, for instance, means humankind or dirt creature. Eve means mother or child bearer. And Cain means offspring or progeny. Just the kid. So let's let the story speak for itself this morning. Your dad is Adam, the first human. Androgynous, by the way. He doesn't have a gender until he's split into two, and as the two are then gendered to create the first couple. Adam and Eve walk with God in a garden. There's a relationship. So the ancients were thinking about God and who God is. They imagined God as being personal, as being approachable and intimate. This is how they conveyed that in the story of creation. But God was also demanding. The relationship with this God is complicated. Sometimes sweet and wonderful as they walk in the garden, and sometimes troubled. When the trouble arises, it comes from the human side of the equation. Eventually, Eve gives birth to the first offspring, Cain. Then his brother, Abel, which, by the way, means breath, and probably speaks to the shortness of his life. A breath, and then he's gone, murdered by his brother Cain. Adam and Eve are famous as the first humans. Cain is famous or infamous as the first murderer, and Abel is famous for being the first victim of domestic violence. Cain and Abel together represent the two sides of humanity, our potential for either good or ill. Abel is the very good, and Cain is the very bad. Exactly the kind of people who make up history. We remember the very good and the very bad. It's one of the reasons that people say there's no such thing as bad press, because even bad press makes you memorable. Then there is Seth, the other son, neither remembered for being very good nor very bad, just ordinary. Even Seth's name means substitute. God has appointed another offspring, says the scriptures. Another kid, just ordinary. But then it says, about this time, people started worshiping the Lord. Coincidence? I don't think so. Seth picks up the mantle of what God intended with Adam and Eve, to have this relationship, to be a part of their everyday life, to be worshiped with them. And Seth is the one who carries that forward. And just take a look at the lineage. Seth's lineage picks up where Cain should have, but Cain and Abel are no more. The lineage from Adam to Jesus goes through Seth. There is Enoch, there is Noah, there is Abraham, there is David, and ultimately there is Jesus. But for this ordinary person, Seth, this everyday kid, just another kid, there would be no Jesus. My friend Joe Thomas, who passed away a few years ago, Ordinary Joe, if you would, once said that if one person for one day breathes a little easier because of you, your life has been a success. He may have quoted that from somebody else. I don't know that it originated with him, but I love the sentiment. If one person for one day breathes a little easier because of you, your life has been a success. C.S. Lewis remarks this way: there are no ordinary people. You have never talked with a mere mortal. And Murat Ildan said it this way: all of the extraordinariness is hidden in ordinary people. That's you and me. There is extraordinariness hidden inside of us. Ordinary folks. You'll probably never make it into the history books, and neither will I. We'll come and go in obscurity. But for a moment in time, our moment, we are who and where we need to be. Created in the very image of Creator herself, beautifully and wonderfully made, a reflection of God, and beloved by God, just for who you and I are. Just like we are. God must love the ordinary. She created so many of us. God must love diversity because none of us are alike. God must love the way we are and create us the way we are and love us just like we are. She made a wide array of us, each one of us, ordinary, but extraordinariness is hidden inside of us. Amen. I invite you to reflect on your own ordinariness and the extraordinariness that is hidden inside of you as we continue our conversation this morning. Your thoughts, your observations, your ideas. This is your turn to shine. If you're on a virtual platform, I put something in the chat. If you're on Zoom, you can unmute and we'll hear you. And if you are in the sanctuary, someone will be around with a microphone. Just wave your hand so that we can all hear you. What are your thoughts?
Well, when I read it, I took all kinds of notes and I dug down, and it's very thorough. And then last night I was reading over my notes and going over this again, and I just couldn't shake a personal connection that I felt. When I read about Seth, I think that the only thing I could think about was when I was widowed. It was like the most painful experience of my life. It was really rough. And at the time, I couldn't imagine any sort of good coming from that. From that loss. But looking back, my life has changed dramatically. Through that pain, I found strength I didn't know I had, deepened my faith, and became a different person all the way around. So it's like, that loss never stopped mattering, of course, and it didn't need to. God still wrote another chapter in my book. That's what I was thinking about.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that personal connection, Chrissy.
Welcome.
Appreciate that.
Bob, I think this is a very timely sermon. We live in a culture that puts great emphasis on those who are remarkably different, successful, as they title it. But to your point, sometimes the most incredible people are the ordinary. And it's good to be reminded of that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate this. It's a great sermon.
In the text, it does mention that during Seth's lifetime, people began to turn to Yahweh and worship Him and acknowledge Him. And
Right.
I wonder if Seth was some kind of leader or somebody who was pushing for that in the culture at the time, or if he just exists. He's just the third son, and then he had kids, and those kids would later become great leaders, or if he was a great leader himself. The Bible doesn't say, but it's one thing to wonder about.
Great observation. The Bible invites us to read between the lines. And that's one of those places where you have Seth, the ordinary kid, and you have people about that time started worshiping God, worshiping Yahweh. And it doesn't specifically make the connection, but it invites us to read between the lines that there's a connection there, doesn't it? Thank you, Hunter. I want to revisit the quote from my friend Joe Thomas. If one person for one day breathes a success. Look at your own ordinariness and the way that you have touched the lives of others. One day, for one moment, one person making life easier.
Hey, Bob, would you repeat that quote? You froze, so nobody here actually got to
Oh,
hear it.
okay. Thank you. I didn't realize I froze. I didn't freeze here. If one person for one day breathes a little easier because of you, your life has been a success. So think about those people who have been there to make your life easier for that one moment and what a significant difference that's made. Or when you've been that person for others. Am I frozen again?
Oh, no.
No, Bob, they're frozen.
Remember a phrase that used to be used years ago called the frozen chosen.
Bob, Teresa writes, most of us won't be famous, but it's impossible to go through life without connecting to anyone. I think we should slow down for those moments of connection and just try to give a quality relationship to the people we get to meet. It's easier to maintain deeper relationships with a few people than to please a crowd, and who knows how many people the few people you meet will share ideas with.
Yeah. Thank you, Teresa. And we may never know some of the people whose lives have been changed by us.
I want to say one thing about the name Curry, Seth. We have in our home, in our condo association, a lady that babies. We was talking about the NCAA tournament, and she said, "You said Duke." I said, "You're from Duke?" She said, "Yeah, I babysat the Curry boys, and one of the Curry boys' name was Seth." I said, "You got to be kidding me!" And Seth Curry is probably the greatest three-point shooter that ever made the NBA. So I don't know if his name was meant to be Seth, so it would be spread out, or what. But anyway, Seth Curry is a tremendous three-point shooter in the NBA and probably one of the greatest that ever was. And that's the first time I'd ever heard the name Seth, and she babysat him.
Thank you, Roy. Just one minor correction there. His name is actually Steph, Steph, but sounds real similar.
Jenna
His
Morrison
father-
writes, I personally
His
think
father
back...
was Seth Curry.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Jenna Morrison writes, I personally think back with my own journey, and I sometimes pause and ask myself, why me? I am just an ordinary person, nothing special, yet somehow God thinks I'm key in some part of his plan. We just have to be ready and be on God's time, not ours.
Yes, thank you, Jenna.
I just add a little caveat to Jenna's point there. I think oftentimes we hear the phrase God's time, and we seem to recline and say we need to wait. God's time means, for me, that God is meeting you halfway in your journey. We've still got to be walking toward where we're supposed to be going. So it's not an invitation to recline and just be served by God, but an invitation to move forward with God. I'm sorry, Jenna, if I overstepped.
Oh, not at all. That's how this works. One person makes a comment and it makes somebody else think of something else.
Yeah.
I actually agree with what you said, though, Gator. I just sat for a long time. It wasn't until I started getting up and doing things that anything really started happening with me.
Mm-hmm.
God is the one who's waiting.
There it is. That's
Exactly.
it, right there. That's right.
You may think of yourself as just being an ordinary person. I often think of myself as being an ordinary person. I'm not going to be a famous preacher. I'm not going to be a Billy Graham. That ship has sailed. It's pretty obvious that's not going to happen in my life. But none of us are ordinary in God's eyes. God made you exactly as you are, who you are, where you are, when you are. You are God's creation. And God is just waiting for you to let the extraordinary in us that is already hidden inside of you out. God loves you and wants to use you as God's agent in the world. God bless you all. Thank you. Hope you'll join us next week. Remember, we'll have a guest speaker, and plan on staying with us. Plan on staying with us for the family meeting. I thought I had missed something on the app.
Will you be joining us in person, Bob?
I would not be there for the worship service because I can't be away from Deb for that long.
Right, like the way you did it before.
But yeah, I'm going to join for the meeting
Okay,
in
awesome.
person. Thanks for asking. God bless you all. Have a great day. Happy Father's Day to all of our fathers. Know that you're in my prayers if this is the day of struggle for you. Enjoy your day. Blessings.